Hi, this is Sarah from Align with Sarah. This is, whoopsies. Oops, I forgot I had my phone on too. Thank you. Sorry. Um, so this is Let's Talk Tuesday. That was super distracting. Sorry about that. I'm Sarah. This is Align with Sarah. And this is also Let's Talk Tuesday. So it's a great way to connect with me. I do usually have one or two people that do the live stream, which is wonderful. Great place to ask questions or get some direct feedback. This month, we're talking about curiosity as our piece of wellness. This is the first video to introduce that. I did send out the newsletter on Saturday. I have a blog post written, and I feel like I need to be curious about this. I have so much resistance in publishing it that it's kind of, I don't know, something that I'm not used to, not even uncomfortable about. I just kind of feel like I want to write about something else. So to make sure that I'm in a place of pushing through that comfort zone and finding a place to grow, usually that is where we're uncomfortable. I'm using curiosity to just really sit with what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that. And to the Let's Talk Tuesday, we're focusing on curiosity. And I want to talk about this, like the ignorance is bliss sort of experience where curiosity, I read this in a quote that it is a confession of ignorance, which I think is such an interesting topic for today. So when we do come into something with pure curiosity, usually we have no idea what's going to happen. Usually we have a disconnection for an expectation, a disconnection with an experience that might have happened before, or we're able to separate ourselves from what we have had in the past. So clearing the slate, kind of that fresh start into whatever that experience is, and how refreshing that can be for the experience. It really brings us into the now, the like actual now, when we're not carrying that emotional baggage of all of the other times. When I sign in here for Let's Talk Tuesday, I am in the habit of setting up the slide and setting up the streaming, I guess is a good way to call it. I don't know. And I'm using my wisdom of the struggle that sometimes, when I think I'm just going to click a few things and then show up here live, and then it doesn't happen. I'm using that wisdom to not be like creating the same situation. I'm using that wisdom to show up in a different way where I do set it up. It takes me a couple times. I only do it once a month, but it takes me a couple times to remember how to get on quickly, how to start the live stream. But like today, it just took me 1 minute and here I am. So anyway, so the point is being curious about how we can do something different, being curious about showing up, and being curious about, how this might be a different outcome, being curious about what I can put in the experience, my efforts, my emotions, my feelings, my expectations, my efforts. I'm not sure if I said that or not. Being curious about my contribution to the effort is that goes a really long way in changing the outcome. We can then become aware of the emotional baggage where, this expectation of struggle or this expectation of frustration, where if we create this ignorance, we create this moment of, well, that was then and this is now. And from then till now, I've learned all these things. One of a lesson that I hold so close to my heart is something that I heard the Dalai Lama share. He says, His Holiness, I know nothing, but I've had these experiences. And that is such, I feel like words really matter. Every time I give a demonstration of the biofeedback, the muscle testing, we see the power of the word. We see how that affects our body. The integrity of our word reflects the integrity of ourself. So the integrity of what we think we know is not actually what we know. We know nothing. We've had experiences and we've had outcomes, and however tightly we hold on to that outcome, it still isn't actually knowledge. It can be turned into wisdom. It is a lesson. It has taught us something, but we can look at that same situation, other people that are involved, and they know something different. They have learned something different. It has taught them something different, or maybe something similar. That can definitely be the case. But we hold on to the knowing, and it keeps us sometimes from experiencing something else. We never actually know anything for sure. We can have wisdom, we can have experiences, we can be taught things, we can understand outcomes, but the knowing, we cannot ever know what's going to happen, especially based on our past. And that more open mind, it kind of sounds like a negative thing to say, but the more of that ignorance just means, its definition is lack of knowledge. It's not anything negative. We do tend to use it in the English language as a negative connotation of something, but ignorance just means lack of knowledge. And when we forget everything we know, which is so valuable in healing, when we forget everything we know, we are pushing aside our conscious mind, and we're able to evaluate the subconscious mind. We're able to go past the subconscious mind and look deeper into our instincts and our belief systems, those foundational thinking pieces that direct us way more than we realize that they do. This gets into a huge play where what I talk to people about all the time, healing places in their life, physical things that are going wrong with the body, pieces of life that feel like they are a struggle. I am a firm believer that really what it is on the inside, our belief systems are just these glasses that we wear. So this is what we perceive. If we perceive that those outside places of life, like that life sucks and then we die, and work is just work, and not those belief systems that really carry us forward into self-nourishing behavior. I love my job. I feel like I can work at my job nonstop forever. I love my job. It nourishes me. When I talk to people, when I see hope click in their mind, when I see the wheels start turning, in just simple thoughts of, I didn't realize that I thought so deeply that someone else is going to heal me. That's all around us in society, but our bodies are healing machines. And many times we are in our own way of allowing our body to just take over and heal, eating the wrong foods, thinking the wrong thoughts, being in jobs that we hate, that stress. Another thing I love holding tightly to my heart, if we take that desk reference manual that is in every doctor's office, and I'm just going to grab a book here that's going to not cause an avalanche of papers. If this is the desk reference, that manual that has all of our diagnosis that the doctor can come up with, we open up to any page and we put our finger down, just like this, any page, any spot that our finger falls, what is in that book is caused by stress. The American Medical Association, the AMA, recognizes that 90+% of the illnesses that we experience, which the illness is just like that diagnosis is just a grouping of symptoms, all of those symptoms can be boiled down as stress related. And in the 70s, Bruce Lipton proved that there's just a handful of diseases that are genetically passed to from one generation to the next, and we are still not predispositioned to develop those diseases. They are stress induced almost every time. Our environment, we are products of our environment. So what if we have a job that we love? And what if we have a home that we love? And what if we have a family that we love? And what if we have our own efforts out into the world that we love? We change people's lives every day. We help people every day. We build homes every day for people. We give people help up. If that's the kind of thing you love, like I do. I love feeding people. I love, when people are happy, I feel like when I love when people have hope, and that nourishes me at the same time. I do sometimes feel like days are long, but it's a very satisfying feeling of being tired, of being ready for the day to be done, because I feel like it is done with love, and love is coming back to me. I recently had a very difficult day, which I haven't had in a long time. It was a couple weeks ago, I would say a couple weeks ago. And like, I could not hardly sleep the night before. These like thoughts were in my mind. Meditation couldn't clear them. Journaling couldn't clear them. The next day it was like one thing after another. And felt like I was in an observing mode, whereas I was very aware of how I was feeling. And a couple days into that day, I would say noon, I was so exhausted. And I was remembering when I had jobs that I really didn't enjoy too much. They weren't really nourishing. And I remember that exhaustion. I remember that effort that it took to show up or get ready or, get in the vehicle and then be done with work and still have the rest of the day. I remembered that with that very difficult day. And it makes me really enjoy all of the days that are not like that. So this confession of ignorance with curiosity, I want that to be received as a positive message. I want that to be received and incorporated as that lack of knowledge, that ignorance is bliss. We can also say the innocence, confession of innocence. I feel like that kind of makes it like guilty or innocent. So anyway, we're sticking with ignorance. And it brings in this next thought process of, well, let's just see what happens. Let's just try. Let's just think about this fact that, what if it was my body's number one job to heal itself? What would that be like if I trusted my body? I'm going to optimize its environment to heal, which might include conventional medicine. It might include alternative medicine. It might include both of them. It's definitely going to include my own efforts, because life created our environment. My environment created my health in one way or another. My environment created my health. Changing my environment, changing my efforts, changing my behaviors, changing my routines has that major potential of changing my health. So that is what I'm offering, for that curiosity to stay focused with those thoughts. What if you were in charge of healing you? What if you were in charge of finding those places and those things to optimize your health so you can heal you? How many times have you heard me say that? if anyone has worked with me or reached out to me about working with me, I cannot heal you. I can help optimize your environment to heal so you can heal you. Clearing the things that are in the way, clearing the frequency that you're vibrating at to make that a more healthy, a more happy, higher frequency. The higher we go, the healthier we are. There's someone, I need to look this up because I keep saying this and I need to remember who this person is. This woman has a healing practice, and she puts out there that we should be vibrating at a frequency of love or above. And it's a really great thing to shoot for. You might have heard of that 300 or 432 megahertz vibration, that sound healing. There's a YouTube, there's about 1.5 zillion that you can pick from on YouTube. Some are short, some are long. I think I have a shorter version of a 432 megahertz on my resources tab, if you wanted to check that out. The healing work of using the singing bowls, the crystal bowls, bells. The ancient cultures relied almost solely on the vibrational and the sound healing properties, the vibrations, the extractions from even herbal medicine. It ties into vibration. The homeopathy, those little tablets that you get, they are exposed to frequencies that resonate with some emotion that needs to be processed, or a counter, like the higher vibration that's going to bring up that frequency that we're trying to get rid of. So that would be like depression and the guilt and shame are the low frequencies on that spectrum of emotions. So wherever you are, guilt and shame can bring you down. And they're tough, and they're good to reset in that vibration, because they are so low. If we're listening to that 432 or anything that is high happiness energy, love and above, we have that potential of raising our whole frequency, clearing that sound, that resonation. The emotions have a specific sound, they have a specific frequency. I think I just sort of skipped over that when I was just talking. But listening to that vibration, it can almost be like the counter vibration. And that expression, misery loves company, if we get curious about that, we can apply that to people that we might be attracted to. So if we're feeling very angry, we're going to try to talk about angry things, or we're going to present ourselves as being angry. And angry people are going to be attracted to us. People talking about the financial struggle, complaining about bills, complaining about expenses, complaining about just the struggle in general, they're gonna resonate with something, might resonate in that message with other people, and then that is going to attract them, and we're going to be gathering that same misery. And this applies for defensiveness and grief and that shame. Those are just I'm looking at my emotions over here. Oh, and abandonment is also another big one. Sometimes we can even attract those people that are going to that are subconsciously or consciously recognize that vulnerability piece of someone that has those signs and that frequency that is heard in that subconscious mind of abandonment, and taking advantage of that vulnerability. So I think I just totally lost track of what I was saying. So I think the point of it all is that misery loves company. And we can see this in a scientific way, where if we take a tuning fork, and I'm going to use pens as tuning forks, we're going to pretend. But if I have two tuning forks and I take one and I'm going to strike this one in my right hand, and this one is not going to be struck on anything. It's just going to be sitting here. If I take this activated tuning fork and I bring it closer to this tuning fork, the closer it is to shape and size and resonation, the faster it's going to pick up this vibration that this one's putting out. And then they will both be activated at some point as it approaches without touching each other. This message is being received by this piece of metal, this tuning fork, and it is talking back. It is sending the same message back. They're resonating with each other. And that is how that misery loves company can apply to emotions. So that's a lot of talking. I love talking.